Coming to you live from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios, it's the Cigar Pulpit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm the Bishop of the Bird, Nick, and with me today, by phone, because I've been having nothing but technical issues this evening, is Trey Mac Shipley, Aladino Cigars. How you doing, Trey Mac?
Doing good. My neighbor's currently sending me pictures of like the Miss USA pageant, trying to get my grades on these girls.
Oh, well, there you go.
So I'm a little preoccupied here, but Georgia and West Virginia, daddy likey.
Okay, well, you know,
This is why that's what you get when I'm on the phone. There's a bunch of things going on.
I was gonna say I'm gonna have to work hard to keep your interest when
if I have to like actually talk into a phone, God only knows what's about to come my way, like second by second here.
There we go. Okay, well tonight I am excited. Hopefully everybody on the YouTube can see me as this goes down because, well, you know, I have the patio porch light, so that's about it. You know, this whole like changing of the locations here, guys, this has been a much more difficult process for this than I realized. Like, I had everything down pretty much to a science at the duplex, but now that we're at the house and everything, this has been a little different because, like, for example, I don't have outlets along the back of my house outside, so I can't run an extension cord, so I'm doing everything off a mobile battery and this and that and whatever, and so like it's gotten more complicated to pull this off sometimes. So, and it doesn't help when I have two different iPads that decide to just like have this low pitch whine when I plug them into the board. I don't know what's going on with that either. So, whatever. It's all stupid. But anyway, tonight we're gonna finally be smoking something I've been looking forward to trying for a little while. And I got a nice shipment the other day that included some of them. It's the Aladino Fuma Noche. Yes. And
It's about time.
I had to wait for my shipment from two guys to arrive, and I did the whole add to care package thing. And, well, it was time to get the care package, which meant I got that, and I got the Cameroon Reserva. But when I asked you what you wanted to smoke tonight, and I threw both those out, you said, well, I don't have any of the Cameroon Reservas, but I got a Fuma Noche, and I'm like, let's do that then.
Yeah, a couple things. Number one, good luck finding a Cameroon Reserva.
Okay.
You finding one was a hidden gem because most of them sold out in the first couple days they hit stores.
Gotcha.
But if you run around out there, you might find some of them out in the wild. They still might be out there. Like you found a couple.
I did.
But that's also another reason why I wanted to save that for later because I feel kind of like, I feel like a little bit of an ass if we smoke something that nobody else can have right now.
True. And also, you kind of want to save it for a nice special occasion, too, if you're sitting on a limited supply of them.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's very true. Now, don't worry. We will smoke that together later on in the year. There'll be a reason.
Okay.
So save it.
All right, we'll save. I have a couple, so I will definitely save at least one back. But the Fuma Noche is a 6 1/4 by 54 cigar, and according to all my research, the blend is unknown other than the fact that the binder and filler are grown in Honduras, and it has a Maduro wrapper. But what kind of Maduro wrapper, we do not know.
Yeah, I'll go into a little bit of that because I know some retailers have been frustrated with this. Number one, if it was going to be unknown, I really wanted it to just say, parts unknown.
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed that, and I know Joel would have too.
I would say it's where the dead man comes from.
Yeah.
I got you.
Or the Ultimate Warrior, parts unknown.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But no, it's all grown in Honduras.
Okay.
But really, the reason we wanted to keep it a bit of a mystery, we don't really want to mess with anybody, but at this point in time, as you'll see when you smoke this, if you were blindfolded, you would probably not notice this as an Aladino cigar.
Okay.
It's very different. We're using tobaccos that we right now don't need the entire industry knowing that we're growing.
Ah, okay. Okay.
So it's really more to kind of protect ourselves. I'm sure the blend will come out eventually, but right now we want to keep some of this hush hush.
Gotcha. Keep it under the hat. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it is time to cut and light the cigar, and the official cutting is brought to you by 2guyscigars.com. That's the number 2guyscigars.com. Two Guys Cigars have been around for 40 years, and they are the trusted name in the cigar industry. Everybody knows Two Guys Cigars, but if you don't, please give them a try. You will not be sorry. Family owned and operated. 2guyscigars.com does the very best to provide a great selection, which is where I got this Fuma Noche, fair prices, and awesome customer service. I don't know what more you could possibly want. Please go to 2guyscigars.com for your next cigar purchase. Tell them that the Cigar Pulpit sent you. That's the number 2guyscigars.com. And with that, it is time to go ahead and
Now hold on.
Oh. What's wrong?
Did you show the people? I can't see you. So did you show the people this cigar?
Oh, yes. I have taken off the footband now because I'm getting
Okay,
ready
but
to
did they
light
see the footband?
it. Yeah, the foot. I mean, I showed it before I took the footband off, but I
Good,
have
good,
the
good,
footband
good.
here as well. So,
Yeah.
you know.
So before you get a little too crazy,
Oh, there we go.
before
Okay.
you get a little too crazy, things as simple as a band, it's exciting to actually work on some of this stuff. And, the first sense you use to buy a cigar is the sense of sight.
For sure.
Now, a lot of our listeners probably don't remember the old Camacho days, but this band is an homage
Okay, the
to
silver, the black, and the red.
the touch of red, very important. It's an homage to the old Camacho Triple Maduro.
Okay. Oh.
So just
Okay.
wanted to point that out.
Okay. So does that mean that this is a triple Maduro then?
I did not say that.
Okay. All right. I didn't hear anything. I'm just asking questions. So I'm gonna see if this can help. Well, I mean, I look like I'm fucking speaking at a campfire, but whatever. I have a little flashlight thing that has a like lantern feature on it, and I turn that on, and it's not the most flattering for lighting me up on camera, but it'll help because it was getting dark. So anyway, gonna cut the cigar now, and we got that cut. That's good. Okay, give that a little tappy tap. Time for cold draw. I've been looking forward to this one. You've been talking about this one for a while, and this is my first opportunity to try it.
I'm super excited about this cigar. I love it. It's we called it Fuma Noche for a reason. We didn't have a cigar in the Aladino portfolio that you could really go and smoke at night.
Mm-hmm.
We had cigars you could smoke all day long, but we didn't really have a go-to night cigar. But Fuma Noche translates to night smoke, and this was our attempt at bringing that to the customers.
It's got a... What is that cold draw? It's a little salty.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like bitter, but not an unpleasant bitter, like almost like a baker's chocolate or something. And there's something else. I don't know what that last thing is. The baker's kind of the really bitter kind of dark chocolate, baker's chocolate, and the salt is what's prevalently hitting. But I don't know. Are there official flavor notes I should be looking for?
I hate official flavor notes. Like, number one, like official flavor notes, that's what the ones of us that came up with this thing, that's what we get.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really matter. What matters is what you get.
Okay.
And I will say, number one, the saltiness that you're picking up, that's a bit of a staple from a lot of Honduran tobacco. Super interesting. On one side of the mountains in Honduras, you'll get more saltiness. And on the other side of that mountain range in Nicaragua, you'll get more pepper. So it's just, kind of an interesting...
That is interesting.
Yeah, which I call it, soil differences. If you're really nerdy, you might call it the Terra Noir.
So it's like condiment or not condiment. It'd be like Spice Mountain. It's like on one side you have the
Yeah.
salt and the pepper. That's interesting.
Hmm.
Okay, interesting. Well, I just fired it up, and right off the bat, really nice draw. Definitely kicking off a good amount of smoke. Um, there, according to my flame, there is a slight breeze back here. However, I sure as fuck don't feel it. Um, yeah, but oh man,
So I
there
get
there
a
is some
very,
there is some strength right off the bat with it though.
yeah, now I wouldn't call this like, I smoke a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I really, really, really hate the word strength. I try to avoid it, even though it's impossible to. But to me, there's body and there's nicotine content, and those are two very different things.
Okay.
This cigar, it is higher in nicotine than a lot of our cigars, but it's a much higher in body. Like it's got a very thick smoke. It's
Yeah.
almost it's almost a chewy smoke, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
Kinda. Yeah.
So this cigar has a lot of body. Me personally, if I'm comparing it to all cigars across the spectrum, and I quote unquote use the word strength, I would give it a 7 out of 10.
Um. Yeah. I mean, well, yeah. I could give you that right off the bat. I want to see how it smokes. I mean, I don't want to assign a strength level like right off the foot, um, but you've obviously smoked this before. I haven't, but I could definitely see where you're coming from when you're talking about how you want this to be like the last cigar of the evening kind of thing.
Hmm.
Like just right. I will say that that's something I can tell right off the foot is that yeah, this is gonna be a nice kind of okay. We're done. This was a good way to end the night. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So.
and it is
It's not one to
packed.
start the day with a cup of coffee. I mean, I guess you could
No,
if you're a super heavy duty, smoker maybe, but this is not one that even I would
it's
want to start the day with.
it's packed full of Ligero,
Mm-hmm.
which created some issues when we were first blending it because Ligero burns differently, and so to get that much Ligero into a cigar, it created some burn issues that we had to correct.
Okay.
That said, because there's so much Ligero in there and there's some special things involved there, it does have a lot of nicotine, but it is balanced and aged well, so it's not gonna punch you in the face.
Yeah.
But beware, it does have a ton of nicotine in it,
Well,
and
then I'm
that's
glad I had a little bit of something to eat before we did this. Then.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I go back and forth with. I rarely say this because I'm always America number one.
Mm-hmm.
But our European counterparts seem to understand these things better than Americans do. The body and strength, body and nicotine, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where I talk to a lot of Americans across the country, and this is a strong cigar. And I'm like, give me your top five strongest cigars. And they'll tell me. And I'm like, yeah, that's just young tobacco.
Ah.
It's kind of the Starbucks thing that we have going on in the U.S., where people think Starbucks is strong coffee, and I'm like, well, it's over roasted, and it's hard to tell somebody here in the States. And like, if you want more caffeine, it's the light roast,
Oh.
and no one ever believes that. I'm like, well, okay, the marketing has told you that strong is just over roasted.
Mm-hmm.
In the cigar industry, a lot of the times it's young tobacco with that bite, which really is really nothing more than ammonia, sadly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's fine if you enjoy that too, and I do too. There's certain cigars I want to kind of bite me, um, and sometimes I actually look for some of those younger cigars because I can tell this is good tobacco. It's just young, and I'll sit on it for a year,
Yeah.
and then the cigar smokes like it's a $15 cigar instead of a $10 cigar.
There you go.
But this one, not in that case. This is balanced, big body.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's an interesting point because, for example, I sat on those Henry Clay Warhawk Rebellious.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, those came out in 2020. And, I cracked open that box this year. I mean, so I sat on them for, 4 years, maybe right around 4 years. They're smoking way better now than they did back then. And I liked them back then, but it's kind of one of those things where you have to wonder, like, how young was it when it came out and how much better is it now that it's got, a little extra age on it.
I absolutely love that cigar, by the way.
I do too, and I wish they would come back out with it, like do another run, because, my box is kind of getting a little low, and I need to get another one, but whatever.
I'm kind of like you. I believe I have 5 in my collection,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to smoke them right now because
I break them out every once in a while for like something special, and and that's the interesting thing about cigars. For a moment, we'll deviate down this rabbit hole, and then I want to talk to you about some travels and shit. But it's funny. You and I we're talking about this cigar that when it came out was maybe, I don't know, maybe a $10 cigar.
yeah.
And some people would look at it and be like, why are you valuing that cigar so highly? I mean, it's just a Henry Clay Warhawk, limited line and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's the effort that I put into it. It's the fact that I liked it enough at the time. I sat on the box and I aged it. I resisted the urge to get into it for 4 years. I aged it, and now it's done. And so, yeah, I value it. It doesn't have, that's the thing. I guess you don't have to use, ridiculously high-end cigars, age them for a while. If you want to sit and age a box of Opus X, good for you. But you can do it with a box of Henry Clays and still dig it,
Oh, honestly, a lot of the times the cigars to age are the cheaper cigars.
Yeah.
They're cheaper because they were put out quicker.
Mm.
I'll go ahead and on this show reveal my favorite cigar to age, which I'm sure a lot of people will not like me saying this.
Okay.
Well, I have 2, but on the cheap end, and I really feel bad saying this because I'm a big brick and mortar guy.
Okay.
But the Diesel Unholy Cocktail, which I believe you can only buy online.
Okay.
If you're willing to sit on that for 18 months or 2 years, it's phenomenal.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's got a lot of bitterness if you just buy it and smoke it.
Yeah.
And that's what you expect from a cigar at its price range. But it's when you smoke it, you can tell this is good tobacco. It's just early. Let it sit, and that cigar turns into a wonderful thing.
Okay.
On the other side of that, you mentioned it already. My other favorite cigar to age is the Opus.
Okay. Okay.
I never, ever, ever, ever smoke an Opus when I buy it. They're not where they could be.
Yeah. And so you're just.
But if you're.
So how much time do you give them?
The Opus is a beautiful thing where the more time, the better, to an extent. Usually, this goes for most tobacco. After 6 years, you're talking about diminishing returns.
Yeah.
But, bro, I've got a lot of Opus from 2008 still that I probably need to smoke, but they're kind of collector's pieces at this point.
Yeah.
But typically, like, I will sit on an Opus or a Casa Fuentes the same way. Minimum a year, minimum. But 2-3 years down the line, they become something just absolutely beautiful. But I don't know many people that do that. They buy it. They like, oh, this
And
is a great cigar, hard to find.
that's
And
the thing. If you're, if you're investing in it, like you said, typically it's somebody that wants to smoke it right away.
yeah. And then there's plenty of other cigars out there that are already aged. There's no point in aging them. The manufacturer did that for you.
Like the
Which
Fuma
a
Noche.
lot of a lot of our cigars are that way. They're really not meant to be aged.
Mm-hmm.
Julio's pretty hardcore on doing that himself. Armaduro's the same way.
Well, I know Mr. Jonathan. He dry box ages the Corojo Reservas.
You know what? That's an important point. Especially, I think this goes for a lot of Honduran tobacco, in my opinion. But especially our stuff, they do better at lower humidity.
Okay.
This and the Fuma Noche here is actually a really good example. If there's too much humidity, this cigar will soak it up.
Well, and you said it's a lot of Lajero, so that makes sense.
It'll soak it up.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. It's been so humid here lately, dude. I mean, step outside and I feel like I'm getting dumped with a bucket of water. Although, now that it's getting a little, closer to darkness here, it's getting a little nicer. But, yeah. But this thing's smoking well. I'm doing all right with it so far. I'm digging it. I'm having to kind of slow smoke it. That's something else that I've noticed with this so far. Just a little bit that I'm smoking it, is that you know how when you smoke a Lancero, if you smoke it a bit too rapidly, you start getting runs in the wrapper. What I
Yeah.
have found with this so far, just in the little bit that I'm smoking it, is that my pace of normal smoking is too fast for it, and that
No.
I have to slow it down because I was starting to develop a few like waves and runs, and it's like, okay, slow it down. And the burn line is equalized out, and it's gotten level, but yeah, my normal pace of smoking was too fast for it.
This cigar, honestly, if you're gonna sit down and enjoy it by yourself, it's a 2 hour smoke,
Mm,
and it'll burn for 2 hours, no problem at all.
okay, awesome. Well, you've been a busy guy lately.
You can say that again,
Yeah.
and I just better buckle up because it ain't gonna
I was
change.
gonna say, I asked you about recording today, and you were like, "Well, I can do it because, here in the next couple of days I leave, and I don't get home until what? What'd you say? Early September?"
I will leave the morning of August the 12th,
Yeah.
and I should be back in Kentucky on September the 9th.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Well, okay then.
Now I do have one little shout out here. I do have one event at the end of this month that's close to home, about an hour and a half away.
Okay.
So you best believe your boy is going to go home after that event for a couple of nights.
Makes sense.
That'll be at this brand new lounge north of Cincinnati. It's called Creekside Cigar. And let me tell you what, if anybody is in the southern or western Ohio region, northern Kentucky, if you have not been to Creekside, it is freaking beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like in an oasis. Like they literally built this place outside of town on this little creek, and it's a huge facility, huge lounge, wraparound porch on the creek. It's gorgeous.
Okay. Well, cool. Well,
Little,
always nice to know about a new lounge, especially one that's super nice.
yeah, and I'll be there doing an event on August the 29th. It's a Thursday.
Okay. That would
So
be
pretty
the
exciting.
Thursday following Pulpit Fest.
Mm-hmm.
Which, for everybody who's coming, buckle up. It'll be story time with Trey Mac.
We're doing that for real?
Oh, yeah, we're doing that for real.
Okay, story time. Now, I hope the people listening that are going know that Yeah, their cell phones will not be available
I was
for
going to
story
say,
time.
we are going to confiscate cell phones for that event because this is a story that can never, ever be shared publicly and recorded. So the only way you get to hear this story, guys, is by coming to Pulpit Fest and taking part. So, you know, one of those
Of
things.
all my stories, this is the most epic, and we don't let everybody know about all this, and it will take a solid hour.
Perfect. We'll have a smoke. It'll be a wonderful time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, where have you been, buddy?
Okay, so the last time I left the house, I flew to New Jersey to the wonderful airport there in Newark.
The Garden State.
Yeah, that airport is something else. And I got to say, like, it's probably not just Newark. Honestly, I'm flying enough now that I'm just disappointed in most of this country's airports.
Yeah.
And that goes for us Americans as well. I am very disappointed. We've gotten pretty disgusting.
Oh, I just flew down to Florida and back, so yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I'm
I'm not
sure.
not a big fan of flying in general these days, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a thing. Although
So no.
I don't know who you fly on the regular. I fly Southwest, and I have to admit I'm very pleased with this pick your seat policy that they're starting in February.
I'll be happy when that policy is finally in fucking effect.
Well, yeah.
Because my last flight at the end of the story was Southwest, and I was not real thrilled about that flight.
Okay. All right. So,
But so you may start at the beginning here.
you flew to New Jersey.
Yeah, flew to New Jersey, picked up my rental car, which was another experience all its own.
Yeah.
Usually, when I rent a car, it is an SUV.
Okay.
However, this time I was told that because I was flying at the same time when they had the what was it, the strike force, all that shit, when everything was shut down.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. The whole computer glitch. Yeah.
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 Which was interesting because I usually there's two people in this industry that are known for having, like, if something's going to go wrong on an airplane, it'll happen.
Yeah.
And that's me and the other guys, and a guy named Zev that I believe lives in North Carolina.
Yeah.
If we're on the plane, something's not going to go right.
Noted.
And the really funny thing was when everybody else's flights were being delayed and screwed up, mine were as smooth as I've ever had.
There you go.
Through all that chaos, all of my flights worked fine. I'm like, so I'm just the opposite of everybody else.
Were you flying Southwest?
No, I flew to Newark on, I believe that was American.
Oh, okay.
This whole experience was American, Delta, Southwest.
So you just got lucky, is what it boiled down to.
Yeah, big time.
Okay.
But then, the attendant thought I got lucky with my rental car. Me, I did not think so much.
Okay.
I go to pick up my rental car, which this time was a car because they'd had so many backed up issues. The rentals were all picked out. So I was like, just give me what you got.
Four wheels
need
that
a
runs.
car.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. And I go out there and they tell me it's going to be a Chevy Malibu.
Okay, not a huge car, but not a small car.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right.
Good gas mileage, I would imagine.
And the attendant, he's taking me to my car, and he goes, man, I hope you like tinted windows.
Oh.
And I'm like, I do? And then we get to the car, and I look at him, and I'm like, you didn't tell me the windshield was tinted?
Oh, shit.
Bro, this thing was murdered out.
How in the fuck is that legal?
No, that's what I looked at him. I'm like, in every state I go to, this is totally not legal. And the attendant goes, man, you're in a rental car. No one will say shit.
Bullshit.
Yeah,
I'm always thinking cops are gonna nail me quicker than anything in a rental car.
bro. And I looked at him like, man, I forgot my sunglasses on this trip, but it looks like I'll be all right.
No shit.
No, this whole thing was murdered out. And I'm like, how is this a rental car?
Oh my god.
And I'm like, all right. But it took some getting used to, especially at night.
I would imagine so, because you can't see a fucking thing.
It was very dark.
You got your high beams on in the middle of town.
Oh yeah, no. And when I say this windshield was tinted, bro, it was tinted.
Okay.
Which I'm like, how is this a rental? Like, I'm like, did they just pick this up at an auction last week? You know, like,
God. Yeah.
So I drive this thing, and screw Chevy Malibu. That car sucked. It looked cool.
Yeah, but it was a bad car.
It was terrible.
Okay.
And when I brought it back to New Jersey, I roll up into the rental return. The lady comes up. I roll down my window, and she looks at me and she goes, "Is this a rental?"
Mm-mm.
And
I was like, "That's what I asked when I got it."
Yeah, and I go, "Yes, ma'am." And she goes, "Where did you pick this up at?" And I go, "Right here, actually." And she goes, "No shit." And I'm like, "Swear to God."
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes, "Well, all right, big pimpin'." And I was like, "I like you, but this has been ridiculous." Now everybody's like, "There's no way this is a rental." And I'm like, apparently, somehow.
Wow.
I'm rolling on dubs with tinted windshields. Yeah, for real. But that was fun. But long story short, we made it through. But I will never be buying any new Chevy Malibu. It was a terrible vehicle.
All right, noted.
But I had to pick up the rental so that I could then drive about an hour and a half into Pennsylvania and out to the Poconos.
Okay.
And I had 3 separate events out there and trainings. I had to do some staff trainings and stuff.
Now talk about that for a moment, because that when you say that, the average person that works, not necessarily in the cigar industry, but just like whatever other industry, they hear staff training. They, like when I hear that, let's say I'm working at a McDonald's and I hear staff training, I would think somebody from McDonald's corporate, maybe management, would bring us all in and show us how to make the new Mc whatever the fuck,
Mm-hmm.
But you, as a representative of a brand, you're coming in and doing staff training, I assume giving them information about your brand and your cigars. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is something I didn't really know was going on in the industry, and apparently it's somewhat new. This is for Cigars International, which again, I know people freak out like, oh, the big bully or whatever.
No,
but
it's
I
something
really,
theoretically the little guys could learn from,
1,000%.
Yeah.
None of this is difficult whatsoever, and I wish every store in America would do this. The way CI stores, their brick and mortars operate is they want every single employee that works there, no matter how big or how small, doesn't matter. They want them to know everything about every cigar that they sell.
Okay.
And I greatly appreciate that. So when I do these staff trainings, it'll be, I come in mid-afternoon and we'll do a 2-hour, there's always 2 hours for training. And if it's a large staff, I'll break it into 1 hour for like 10 people and 1 hour for the next 10 people.
Okay.
And what we do is we go through what makes Aladino different. What is the history of Aladino? So it'll be family history so that you know everything about the Aroas and Julio's life story. And then it transitions into every single blend that we have. And I break it down and explain every single blend.
Okay.
And then if there's time allowed, if it's 2 hours for one group, then the second hour I'll be like, shoot me Q&A. Anything question you have, this is your chance.
Yeah.
And it's just my opportunity to share my knowledge and what's been taught to me by Julio and Justo, to then give that to your staff members, which it's crazy. I wish everybody did this.
Yeah.
Because I can go through something as simple as, how is tobacco harvested? I'm like, that's an important question. Most people don't know, and here's why it's important. And now I can teach. I've had people that work there that are like 21. They're just getting into the business.
Yeah.
And I'm getting to. No one taught me that when I was 21.
No shit.
And I get to give you firsthand experience with a slideshow with pictures. And it's easy. It's 2 hours long tops, 1 hour usually. Super easy. They come out with tons of information that they can then share with the average consumer that comes in. And then after that's over, then you do like a 4-hour cut and light, where then I interact with every single customer that walks in the door.
There you go. Well,
So
I'll tell you that
it's the best.
That's important. The fact that you're interacting with the customers, because I talked about a cut and light that I pumped into recently, and I don't want to be shitting on them too much more than I already kind of have. I mean, I mentioned it briefly, I think, in my episode that I did with Noah, but there's a very prominent company that I bumped into a cut and light, and both employees of said company completely ignored me and the folks I was with. Didn't say boo to us or anything. We even went over to the table and picked up some items and like kind of looked at them and then put them back down. So that interaction, man, that's what sells the cigars, and that's what these stores want when they're having a cut and light with staff.
It is, and this is another thing that if there's cigar store owners listening to this, and I know there are quite a few. The best part about the cut and lights at CI, every single one I've done, and I've done, I don't know, 12, 15 at this point in time.
Yeah.
They always set your table up right in front of the entrance of either the entrance to the store or the entrance to the humidor.
So you're the first thing they see.
Yeah,
Customers.
And then it's on me to then say, hello, welcome. Is there anything I can help you with? Like, I'm not just going to cram Aladino down your throat.
Yeah.
How can I assist you? Like, I'm an employee of CI at that point. And if they show any interest, I'm like, well, let me just tell you some things. Let me just show you some things. And maybe I can teach you something about cigars and tobacco in general. And then if you want to try some of our products, cool. And if not, I will help you find something else in the humidor.
There you go.
And anybody listening to this that owns a cigar lounge, force your reps. And I know there's lazy ass reps out there. I know there are. But if you put them in a position where they have to interact with customers, which I don't think you should. I think a good rep will do that on their own.
Yeah.
But CI forces the issue.
Okay.
No, you're going to have to talk to everybody. It's cool.
Okay.
It's a good thing. It's a chance to learn something.
There you go. So you did.
Sorry, I get passionate about this.
No, you should. I mean, and I think that's cool that you're doing something that you're enjoying. So you did these events in Pennsylvania and whatnot.
Now, we didn't say what happened to me the day before.
What happened to you the day before? Oh, is this what I think it is?
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
So, again, I'm going to give a little PSA out there to the folks. I'm a tooth grinder.
Mm-hmm.
And, in fact, I use a lot because I try not to smoke in my car because I know I'm disgusting. If I was cleaner with my smoke, I would smoke in my car.
Yeah.
It's more that I know I'm an animal.
Okay.
So I don't need ash everywhere. And I know I have a tendency to do that.
That's fair.
So it's not about the smoke in the car. It's about my ashy activity.
Okay.
So the other thing is, if I'm driving, I grit my teeth because I get angry.
You not be so angry, buddy. The stress is gonna kill
No.
you.
Yeah, well, I do get perturbed. So I use nicotine pouches to keep my mouth occupied so I don't grit my teeth while I'm driving.
Okay.
I used to do gum, but then I was chewing so hard on the gum that then my masseter muscles started growing too fast. So I had to switch from that.
You know they have that
But
Jawser size thing. Have you seen that thing?
yeah, we might be getting to that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um, so my dentists all my life have told me, we can tell you grind your teeth, and you need to use this, guard. And if you grind when you sleep and when you drive, then those are the two times you should be wearing this guard.
Okay.
I tell them that's ridiculous. Fuck off. I do that for 39 years.
And here we go.
And I wake up a few weeks ago. One day I woke up in the morning and I had a toothache, which I haven't had a toothache in like 30 years, legitimately.
Yeah.
But I got a toothache and I'm like, huh. And I'm eating and I'm reading stuff online and I'm like, man, it really sounds like I cracked a filling. That sucks, but I can just go to my dentist and they can just, refill the thing and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I call my dentist and say, hey, I cracked a filling. They're thinking not that big a deal. The closest time they can get me into is 3 days, which is the day before I fly to New Jersey.
Okay.
Cool. I go through it that day and it gets progressively worse. So much so that night I did not sleep. It's very painful.
That's not good. Yeah.
And I've never experienced this pain before, and it's very different than any type of pain I've had.
Okay.
And I've had several surgeries. I'm not a weakling, but I'm like, I've never experienced, like, it's continuous and it's in your head and it just makes you want to like go crazy.
Yeah. See, I've never
And
had
I'm
a
thinking,
cavity. I've never had anything like that. So I'm not familiar with the kind of tooth pain that you're talking
okay.
about.
Well, neither was I because, while everybody else was getting their wisdom teeth removed, I never did because my wisdom teeth never gave me any issues.
I did have my wisdom teeth taken out, so I do remember some level of pain prior to that. But that was a long time ago.
So I never went through that.
Yeah.
So I've got my full-blown wisdom teeth in. Everything's good. I'm going through this for the first time. And, buddy, let me tell you, you don't want to go. It's not fun.
Okay.
So, but I'm thinking I'm being a baby because I can't believe I'm going through this much pain with, a cracked filling or a chipped fillings,
Yeah.
So I'm waiting it out and just cursing myself for being a baby. I got 6 hours of sleep in 3 days.
Holy fuck.
I finally go to my tooth appointment.
How are you not a fucking dead zombie at that point?
Oh, no, I was losing my mind.
I would think. That tends to happen with sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So I go in, and I'm like, I got a cracked filling. We got to fix this. They take the x-rays, and they're like, Mr. Shipley, your filling is perfectly fine. And I'm like, well, that can't be.
I would say, then what's going on?
Why do I want to shoot myself in the head? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we're really not sure, but your filling is 100% fine.
Okay.
And I'm like, do I have an abscess somewhere? And they're like, nope, you have no abscess. Like, this is not making any sense. And they're like, well, with where you're describing the pain, like our technology it's not the best for an issue that you might be having. So let's send you to another specialist.
Okay.
So I get in my car and I drive to this other specialist.
It's nice they could get you in that day, by the way.
Well, at first they didn't think they would. And then finally they're like, if you want to come by, and I'm like, yes, I do. I got to fly tomorrow morning at like 5 a.m. I need help. So I go into the second specialist and they take this like 3D x-ray of my whole skull. And that dentist goes, you chipped a molar. And I'm like, a chip? And he's like, that's all I'm picking up. He's like, but it does look like you've chipped a molar, and it looks like you grind your teeth.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, correct. You're correct there, but I didn't notice chipping a molar. And he goes, well, it could be worse than that, but our technology is not good enough to find it.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm looking at him, and I look at him, I'm like, bro, number one, it's like 4:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I can't take what's going on. I need somebody to figure this out.
Yeah.
And he goes, let me call my buddy. You know, he runs a very, very specialized dental place.
Okay.
Let me see if he can help you out because he's got all the technology in the world. I'm like, whatever. They get me in, I'm happy. So this is like closing time at this specialist place the day before I fly out.
Yeah.
They take more x-rays. And he sits down with me and he goes, how did you not know you cracked your molar?
No shit.
And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, oh man, this dude was cool as hell.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, no man, you cracked that fucker like damn near in half.
Oh my God.
And he goes, so you should be in a lot of pain. And I'm like, oh, I am.
You're like, I am. Yeah.
And I'm like, what do we got to do? And he's like, you got to pull the thing out. And I go, well, I don't know what the recovery like that is. Like, all I can think of is people getting their wisdom tooth removed.
Yeah.
Or wisdom teeth. And I'm like, I don't have time for that shit. I got to fly in the morning.
Yeah.
This guy's thinking, I'm fucking closed for the day.
Yeah.
It's 5:00.
And
now, I'm like,
now he's looking at yanking a tooth.
And I looked at him and I go, I have to fly tomorrow morning at like 5:05 a.m. Can I do that with this? And he goes, if you wait, it's just going to get worse every single day.
And you're like, I can't deal with that.
And I'm like, I can't. No. And I'm like, dude, I got to talk for like 6 hours, 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. And he looks at me. This dude, I love this guy. I'm going to go give him a bunch of cigars, actually.
Nice.
He goes, well, looks like we got to pull that fucker and pull it now. And I'm like, I don't know. This sounds like a bad idea. And I'm like, oh, I've seen his videos and I'm worried, like the recovery. I don't have anybody to pick me up. I'm an hour from my house.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, he's like, if we do anesthesia, then yeah, you're pretty much screwed. He's like, but we can just pull it in the next 5 minutes and you'll be fine.
Oh God.
And I'm like, really? and he's like, oh yeah. He's like, trust me, if you're in as much pain as you should be right now, the pain of getting your tooth pulled will be a relief.
Okay.
And I'm like, this sounds terrible, but I'm gonna believe you because I'm about to like lose my shit. And I'm like, screw it. Let's pull this thing right now. Like old school. Let's go.
Yeah.
And
so you didn't get any sort of like anything?
Yeah, so they shot my gum.
A little local?
Yeah, local.
Okay.
And then it was a double whammy because one of the reasons I hate going to dentists is that I also have a jaw issue. My jaw has been destroyed multiple times. It's very embarrassing, actually. Typically, when I bang, things get stuck.
All those dudes in college, right?
Funny. So I've had my jaw dislocated a few times.
Okay.
And I've had multiple oral surgeons tell me that we're going to have to break your jaw to fix this problem. And I'm like, hey, I ain't got time for that.
Oh my God.
And now this guy's like, we got to pull your tooth. And I looked at him and I go, okay, I'm down to do it. But I go, I got this jaw issue and I keep my mouth at a certain openness all the time, even when I talk. I talk a little differently now than I used to because I can't move my jaws. If I move it too far, it gets stuck.
Okay.
And then popping it back in is very disgusting.
Oh my God.
But again, when I bang, things get stuck and I have to put them out. It's a thing. Which ladies love that. Trust me.
Oh my God.
So I tell him that, and he's really not taking me serious at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, well, you'll find out. And then they're getting me down, and they're trying to pry my jaw open.
Oh, no.
And he's like, open it further. And I'm like, yeah, that's the problem. Doesn't really work.
Yeah, this is how this goes.
And he's like, we got to get these spacers in there. And the dude, he was like, we got to do this. So, like, and he's like, and you're numb, so you won't feel it. This dude got behind my head, put his whole hand inside my jaw, and just forced it down.
Holy God.
And I'm like, ah! And I'm like, I told you, motherfucker.
Well, now you know how Joel feels in those locker rooms at those wrestling events. Anyway.
Yeah, now I know how certain porn stars feel too.
Oh my God.
So they got the spacers in there, and it was kind of funny. And they within 5 minutes of him saying this needs to be pulled, it was pulled.
Okay.
So it all happened real fast.
Well,
and
you felt better?
Bro, I never even took, like, number one, they gave me all these anti-inflammatories. And then he also said, if you got to talk as much as you say you do, then, here's some, like, codeine.
Yeah.
And I was prepared to use it. But, bro, I was in so much pain that once that tooth came out, the pain that I had after that was like nothing. I never took anything.
Oh, well, there you go.
I was like, I'm fine. Now I just got this hole because, I've got my wisdom teeth, but now I'm missing a molar. So I just been tonguing this thing,
Well, and you can't smoke for a minute after that.
That's the other thing. So I got to go on, I got to do 3 trainings and 3 cutting lights. And then I got to fly to Tennessee to spend a week with Joel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't smoke on this entire trip.
Wow.
And I always thought that was kind of bullshit because they usually say that smoking just slows down the healing process.
Yeah.
But he goes, no, the main issue is you can't smoke and you can't use a straw because that sucking power will pop a clot. And then that's how you get the dry
socket.
Yeah, dry socket.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's different. I don't want that.
Nope. Oh my God.
So yeah, all this is going on before, and then somehow after I get this tooth pulled and my energy, let me tell you, I got to tell you one more thing. I know this is like not cigar related, but Jesus Christ. The other thing, just because this is a medical establishment, I'm sitting in this chair, all of a sudden being told I got to get this thing pulled like right now with no anesthesia.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, and before we do this, we always got to take your heart or your blood pressure. And I looked at him like, well, it's going to look like I'm dying right now because I can't even breathe. I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
I've had 5 surgeries and never freaked out for any of them, but this was new. I'm like freaking out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know why you would take it now. You should probably take it after the tooth is pulled. But go ahead. Takes my blood pressure, and bro, it was 191 over 101.
Holy God.
Which I'm like, oh.
You're like ready to pop right there in the chair.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm about to die. And this surgeon is hilarious. He's awesome. I love this guy.
Yeah.
He goes, actually, that's not that bad.
Okay. Well.
And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, oh, yeah, most people are worse than that when something like this is going on.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, I'm on the verge of having a heart attack.
Well, I guess if that were your resting heart or blood pressure, that would be a bigger issue.
Yeah. And the whole time he's like, just breathe through your nose. And I'm like, I'm trying, Doc. I'm trying. Like, pull this fucker out.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Well, that's a hell of a way to start the trip.
Yeah. So that was all. And then, of course, like this all happens like 5:30 rolls around. I'm back in my car.
Yeah.
Missing a tooth. But my adrenaline is through the roof.
And you have to be on a plane in less than 12 hours.
Yeah. And I was planning on going to bed at like 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't going to happen. So I didn't sleep that night. So it was 4 days in a row with like no sleep. The last night was not because of pain. It was because of my adrenaline just hadn't chilled out. And then flew to New Jersey, picked up this hoopty, drove, did 3 trainings and 3 cut and lights in Pennsylvania, out in the Poconos area. Drove back to New Jersey, got on another plane to Charlotte, flew from Charlotte to Chattanooga. A new CI store, Chattanooga. In fact, it probably is opening this week.
Oh, okay.
Had to be there to train the new staff before the doors open. And that was cool to see their new place. Chattanooga was actually really cool.
Okay.
Liked it there quite a bit. It's kind of like the biggest, it's like a small city, large town, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Love the vibe.
Okay.
Gorgeous territory. And did an awesome training there at that new location. Had a blast with those folks. And then Joel Williams came and picked me up.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Now, before we do that, before we get into that part of your trip, let's go ahead real quick and do this because, I feel like it's relevant.
Some say cigars are all the same. It's just not true. It's you I have to blame.
Well, I don't know, 'cause what I know, there is a cigar called Aladino. Corojo.
Rojo.
Aladino Corojo.
Aladino Corojo.
Aladino Corojo. They say authentic, so we're not confused, while the others say it's a word that's just abused.
I guess that's so, they can't compete. At least I'm sure Aladino can't be beat.
Corojo. Aladino Corojo. Aladino Corojo. Aladino Cigars use authentic Corojo tobacco from JRE Tobacco. This is the greatest commercial you ever heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So,
Okay.
Got to get the business out of the way. So,
Okay. You want to know why that's a perfect timing?
why? Why is that perfect timing?
Because when I was in Pennsylvania, I'm doing this training, and of course, I'm like, Q&A, you can ask me anything. I'll answer whatever crazy-ass question you got.
Mm-hmm.
This younger guy, like early 30s probably, raises his hand, and he goes, who came up with the kazoo commercial? And I looked at him like, the kazoo commercial? And he goes, how could I not?
I love it.
And then he asked everybody else, he goes, do you guys know about the kazoo? And like nobody else did.
Okay.
And I was like, do you want to educate these fine folks? And he's like, I got it, man. I'll get it queued up.
Nice.
So he played the kazoo commercial for everybody in our training, and everybody died laughing.
There you go. See?
So it was a good marketing point for not only Aladino, because I'm like, good luck, folks. That's going to be stuck in your head.
Uh-huh.
But then it was also a nice marketing point for both the Cigar Authority and the Cigar Pulpit as well.
There you go. I love it.
Aladino
Corojo.
Corojo.
So, you met up with Joel Williams at this point.
Yeah, I got to spend a day to myself in Chattanooga.
Well,
Which
there
is
you
nice.
go. That is nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Sunday in Chattanooga, which highly recommend. There's some good food out there.
Never been.
Plenty of things to do.
You're selling it, though. You're selling it.
No, it's good. Like, if you want, like, a chill vibe,
Yeah.
but beauty all around you, and if you want to do, like, the town is big enough, like, you're looking at, like, maybe 200,000 people.
Okay.
It's got everything without being a major city.
Okay.
And then there's beauty and everything around you. So if you want to do outdoor shit, you just go 5 miles outside the city and you've got rapids, you've got hiking trail, everything.
Now, Trey Mac, you've looked at me. Do I look like somebody who's interested in rapids and hiking shit?
I got a book you need to read. It's by Bill Bryson called A Walk in the Woods.
Oh, boy.
Where a man very similar to you, in fact,
Oh, boy.
decides one day, I got to make a life change and I'm bored as fuck at the same time.
So he takes a walk in the woods.
So he decides, he's like, I'm just going to start walking the Appalachian Trail.
Oh, my God.
And he did the whole damn thing.
Well, good for him.
That wasn't his intent.
Yeah.
He just wanted to go for a walk in the woods one day.
Okay.
And then he enjoyed it, so he kept walking in the woods. And the book is great. The movie, not so much, but the book is wonderful. A Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson, an out-of-shape person about our age that decided to take a walk in the woods one day, and that turned into a cross-country journey that he didn't plan on doing.
Okay. All right, then.
And it's full of everything that you would think would happen to somebody our age, in our shape. And he catalogs it all.
Do bugs like him as much as me?
He deals with bugs. Yes.
Okay, because I'm currently sitting out on my patio here, and I'm in long pants and a sweatshirt in order to keep the mosquitoes from biting me. So yeah, it's hot as fuck. But anyway,
no, you should.
Okay.
That's a good. It's a really good audio book because the guy's hilarious.
Okay. Well, you know what? I might listen to that then, because I'm not normally one big on audiobooks, but I might look into that then. If he's funny, and if he's telling the story, then it's kind of like a personal account. So it's more like a podcast. So okay, all right.
It was funny. He was a writer. You know, he basically sat on his ass and write it all day, every day.
Well, I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. Like, you guys have a connection here for sure.
Yeah.
And then, so this guy that's done nothing but sit and write all the time decides to go for a walk in the woods and then write about that as it's happening, because he's like, I don't know, this is actually taking over my life right now.
I'll be damned. Okay, well, cool. So
now, his buddy that tried to join him, kind of a mess. Oh. But,
Well, speaking of a buddy joining you that's kind of a mess, you met up with Joel Williams.
I did. That's
See,
perfect segue.
That is a segue if I ever heard one. So you met up with Joel.
Meet up with Joel, and we end up going about an hour and a half. You go through Pigeon Forge, and Dollywood's out there, and very tourist, redneck tourism.
Yeah.
Which I'd never experienced before. The beauty is out of this world.
Yeah.
They're really into weed right now too.
Okay. That's everywhere these days, man.
It's like families and shit tons of weed.
Yeah.
Interesting place. But really fun. Had a blast. Went and did a bunch of, I say a bunch. Joel took me to 4 different moonshine tastings.
Okay.
Which was interesting and really fun to see all the different types of moonshine.
I had no idea.
Oh, everything you can think of, brother.
Okay.
You want banana split moonshine? They got that.
Oh my God.
You want s'mores with sores? They got that.
Okay.
I mean, it was fun, and they're very entertaining. And in fact, as a cigar rep, it's pretty cool to go to those because they hire and train the right people to make it a spectacle, make it a show, and you get to taste every single one of those moonshine tastings. Now you're getting a thimble, but you're getting like 16 thimbles at each one of those tastings.
So it sure as shit adds up.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the whole time I'm just looking for Hawk Tua girl.
That's right. You were in her neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just, please show up. Please show up.
I knew we couldn't get through this episode without Hawk Tua girl.
I love her. She's a treasure. So we go through the whole, Pigeon Forge area and Gatlinburg, and then we go to Knoxville, and we hit up some great shops out there in Knoxville. Which, I mean, I should give some shout outs here. Scenic City Cigars in Chattanooga was an awesome place. Smokin' Joe's in Maryville. Smokies in Gatlinburg. There's a couple of them. Huge selection at Smokies. And then we got to Blue Smoke in Knoxville, which is more of an old school type joint.
Okay.
But his son also opened up a new place. And so his son's more of a new school. Dad's more old school. So out there in Knoxville, you have two different things to choose from. Both really big lounges with super big choice selection in the humidor.
Awesome.
Secret City, another great place in Knoxville. So we did all that, and then we drove to Nashville, which again, I'm trying to look for Haktua Girl everywhere I go.
For sure.
When you go to Nashville, you got to get the hot chicken, bro.
Hot chicken.
Yeah, Nashville hot chicken is a thing.
Okay.
So we go to the most famous place out there called Hattie B's. And of course, they're like, I'm a freak. Like, I've actually got genetic markers that make a lot of this stuff easier for me. But hot food and me, we like each other. It doesn't bother me.
Okay.
So we go there, and of course, you can order your chicken. And Joel is like, let me tell you something, brother. Be careful. I know you can eat hot food, but mild is super hot. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Okay.
So he orders his food, and I tell the waitress, I'm like, I can't remember what it was called, but it was something like "fuck you hot."
Oh my God.
And I'm like, yeah, and I'll have mine "fuck you hot." And she's like, "Are you sure?" and I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. And Joel's eyes got real big. He's like, do you know what you're doing? And I'm like, have you seen me eat? But even Joel was like, dude, I'm telling you, this is like a whole different ball game. I'm like, whatever.
Okay.
So they bring it out, and even the new waitress that brought it out was like, someone's adventurous. And I'm like, yeah, am I the only person here that ordered this?
Evidently.
And number one, great chicken.
Yeah.
That's what you don't just want it to be hot. You want it to be moist, succulent.
You want flavor and everything else with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I always worry at these places that do all this hot stuff when they go to the crazy levels of heat. I'm like, yeah, if they're just using what's the word? Oh man, I'm getting ridiculous.
I don't know.
When you're not using the actual pepper.
Oh, like an extract or something?
Extract, that's the word.
Okay.
That's, to me, I'm like, okay, that's when it's like you have to wear a gas mask to do it. That's not for human consumption.
Yeah.
That's always my worry. However, this was not. This was fantastically hot and delicious at the same time. And I ate it, and Joel just kind of looked at me, and he's like, how you doing? I'm like, how do I look like I'm doing? I'm doing fine. Is it hot? I know it's hot, but,
Yeah.
we're fine.
Okay.
Great. If you're into that kind of thing, Nashville's the place to go for hot chicken, and Hattie B's is probably as good as it gets. I can't imagine it being much better.
All right.
So shout out to Hattie B's.
Now, while you were in Nashville, you got to check off a bucket list item.
I did. One of my really, really close friends, and I met him in Kansas when I had a store out there. His name is Kevin Key, so you can go ahead and look him up. Kevin Key is one of those guys that is a guitar player savant extraordinaire.
Okay.
But like a lot of really great guitar players, you may not know the name. Because certain people, especially the Nashville area, what happens is they become everybody's go-to guitar guy. So they're never the featured person, but if you need somebody to play perfect everything. These are your guys.
Okay.
Kevin's one of those, and he spent the last like 4 years being the lead guitarist for Don McLean. And Don McLean's still rocking and rolling.
Okay.
And Kevin's his lead guitarist. He is also a regular at the Grand Ole Opry.
Ah.
So he's the type of guy like they can call in and be like, here's the 6 people playing. Here's the songs they're playing. Can you learn these in 5 minutes? And he's like, got this. No problem.
Okay.
So he always told me, if you're ever in Nashville, hit me up. I'll get you in the Grand Ole Opry. So finally, I sent him a text. I'm like, Kevin, I'm in your town. Are you playing at the Opry tonight? And he goes, yeah. And he gets me and Joel backstage passes. And there's this whole way to get into the backstage, different parking, different. It was pretty badass to go the back way and win the Opry and go to the door and be like, Trey Shipley and Joel Williams. And like, you're on the list, park over here.
Nice.
I'm like, all right. And then you get in there and you're like, what the fuck? Because when you're backstage there, like they have all these rehearsal rooms. And everybody that's playing that night is rehearsing. And if you're one of the lucky people backstage, you can just sit in anyone's rehearsal.
Oh, wow.
And you just go and you're like, this is crazy town. So for like 2 hours before the show even started, we're just talking to musicians and sitting in their rehearsal rooms and listening to them practice. And it was mind blowing. And then you see all the people that are there and who's been there, and it was really cool. And then not only that, I got to give a shout out to the Opry staff.
Yeah.
The staff that runs the back everything to the Opry, I've never seen a staff more prepared, more in welcoming. They were so freaking good.
Okay.
Whatever you need back there, you go to the green room, whatever kind of food you need, it's all there. Everybody's super happy and willing to help you. And I was like, I cried at one point because especially I've lost my mom and my grandma both recently, and their dream was always to go to the Opry. They never got to go to the Grand Ole Opry.
And there you are.
And here I am backstage, and I even got to go on stage, and I was just like, man, like, wish I could share this with them.
I'll tell you, man, you sent me that picture of you on the stage, and you could just see on your face, it's like, yeah, this is like, you're standing in hallowed ground, and you knew it, and you fucking knew it, you know, that it's like, musically, this is like a pinnacle point, and here you are just standing there.
No, and then the dude, and what people, if you're a music like nerd or freak, you'll get it. If you're not, if you're just a casual fan, you may not really get what the Opry's about. But everybody that plays there, especially on a nightly basis, they're big time people. And I'm not talking about the people singing. I'm talking about just your drummer,
Yeah,
your guitarist. Like, to talk to them, you're like, oh, the drummer I hung out with, he was like, yeah, I was Merle Haggard's drummer for like 18 years.
holy shit.
And I'm like, tell me stories. Joel got one right. It was funny. We met this, we rented this guy, and he's super nice and kind of passed. And Joel looks at me and he goes, man, I think that's one of them Oak Ridge boys. And I'm like, that's not an Oak Ridge boy. I would have known him. I would have known.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm telling you, I think that's an Oak Ridge boy. Well, that guy had his family on stage because the whole family's musicians, and come to find out by the end of the night, it's part of my family too. They're in my family tree.
Oh, shit.
But he's up there and he's going through and he's letting his granddaughter play and sing and his grandson. And then he's like, I was a part of the Oak Ridge Boys for all them years. And I looked at Joel and I'm like, son of a bitch. So, yeah. Everybody you meet back there has been with people that are legends.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know who they are, like they had one group that was going out there, and their fiddle player was like sick. And they're like, shit, that's kind of an important part of our show. They grabbed this guy that was backstage and was like, dude, do you think you can do it? And this guy was British, right?
Yeah.
But they knew who he was. And he goes, yeah, no problem. I'll get a feel for it on stage.
What the fuck?
And to see that happen in real time, you're like, what? And then, yeah, I saw that guy go out stage, and there's these pews you can sit in right behind the band. So I'm right behind this guy that they just picked up, and he's reading the notes and just like he was part of the family.
See, and that's the thing, man. There are certain levels of artistry, and I'm not just talking music, but like in this case I am, where you have an artist who can sit and they have to practice and they have to grind and they have to really get to know a song. And then you have these people where the art is just in their soul. It's in their blood, and they can just go out there and just pick it up on the fly and jam. And those kind of people, man, they impress the shit out of me because they're rare. First of all, they're super rare, but those are the people that you can tell they were born and put on this earth to do what they're doing, be it music or acting or painting or whatever the hell it is that they're doing. It's like these are those people. And so like this fiddle player you're talking about, I mean, the ability to do that and on a stage like that, that's impressive as hell.
Let me take it another step further. So I was a classically trained musician. I sing and I play the piano, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've been through all that my entire life. But when I got to the Opry, I was like, where's the music?
Yeah.
There's no notes anywhere.
Really?
They have what they've created, and I guess they created this back in like the 20s and 30s, like in the inception. They have like the Opry style music.
Okay.
And it's not sheet music. It's like a series of numbers.
Okay.
And so when you get on stage, everybody has like they're like iPads. And instead of reading sheet music, they're reading numbers.
Interesting.
And everybody that's at the Opry, they know the Opry number system. And so this fiddle player just jumped on stage. And so he's not even reading sheet music.
He's reading
numbers. And the dude's just like, just like he was part. And I was like, what the fuck?
That's super impressive.
So I took pictures of what their number system is. And I'm like, I don't know if, maybe I can learn this, but that was for guitars. Each instrument has a different number system. And it was just mind blowing.
Interesting.
I'm like, so not only are these like savants that can read music and play by ear, they can also learn another number system on the fly.
Interesting.
Insane.
Well, that's a cool damn trip, dude.
It was above and beyond.
Well, that's one of those things where it's like, when people are like, oh, what's life on the road as a cigar rep like? It's like, yeah, there's the mundane, there's the regular, go to the shops, do the cutting lights, do this, do that. But, man, it's nice that you get to do some cool shit in and amongst all that.
Yeah, and if anybody, like, I know Nashville, like, a lot of people have moved there.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's also a destination because, dude, there's live music everywhere you go.
Well, fuck, man. Yeah, I know. I was in the airport because when I flew down to Destin, I had a layover in Nashville. There was live music in the airport playing at, like, some of the restaurants and shit.
We might have ate at the same restaurant.
Maybe. Was it, like, across the way from Shake Shack?
Was it called Puckett's?
Nah, it was like Red something. I don't know.
I ate this place I think it's called Puckett's.
I was in the Seagates. I don't know where you were at, but
I don't remember.
Right.
But I wrote a review because the music was good. The food can fuck off.
It's about right.
Yeah.
So, okay.
But anyway, on top of more people moving there, it's also a destination for you to go and do a lot of things. Like Nashville's hopping.
Oh, dude, I see like bachelorette parties and all kinds of shit going there all the time.
Yeah, I think like Matt Rife was there when we were there. So the comedy scene is huge. The music scene is huge. Anything you want is in
Well,
Nashville.
Nashville, that's where Dusty Slay, he's been on the show before and whatnot. That's where he's based out of.
Yeah, so he knows.
He's actually performed at the Opry a couple times, I believe.
Well,
So,
I'm sure he knows my buddy Kevin then.
he very well may.
And there's a lot of cigar smokers. We went out with some of them after the Opry was over.
Yeah.
To one of the members only lounges close to the Opry and had a wonderful night.
Nice.
But that's the other thing. If you're a cigar smoker, Nashville is another fantastic city.
Interesting.
They've got over 25 lounges just within the city.
I need to get down. St. Louis is not far from Nashville. I mean, if I fly, it's a 45-minute flight. If I drive, it might be about a 5-hour drive, which is just a smidge longer than what it takes for me to get to my dad's house in Indianapolis. So it's like,
Yeah.
I ought to think about that at some point. But
And they got places like a traditional shop like Belle Meade, which is kind of your traditional cigar lounge. Huge selection. The two owners are hilarious. I believe they are Vietnamese, and they're so funny. They love busting balls.
okay,
Her maybe more than him. She's brutal.
that's funny.
Which I absolutely love because you got to have thick skin in this industry. And then there's a great Vietnamese restaurant that adjoins them. So that's Belle Meade was a wonderful place, but then you can even go, like you can get anything you want in Nashville. So then you have Red Phone Booth, which there's a Red Phone Booth also in Miami. There's another one in Atlanta. They have several.
Okay.
But that's a super dope place to go. On the outside of all their buildings, they look very regular. They're always kind of in hipsterish places.
Yeah.
The buildings never like anything profound.
Yeah.
But there's always a red phone booth outside the building.
Okay.
You have to go into the phone booth and you have to know which number to dial on the phone.
Oh.
And then the door opens.
Interesting. So it's like a little speakeasy kind of thing.
Yeah. And they're huge speakeasies.
Okay.
And they're posh as fuck.
Okay.
And they'll have Aladinos at all of them soon.
Nice.
So we had a wonderful evening at the Red Phone Booth. So in Nashville, you have something as like exclusive as that, which I think Joel will have an event there in the next like 6 weeks.
Okay.
So you have something as like exclusive and posh as the Red Phone Booth. Then you have traditional things like Belle Meade or Smoker's Abbey. Smoker's Abbey's more if you like nothing but niche cigar products.
Okay.
Boutique, if you will.
Yeah.
That's the place to go, and they've got multiple locations. They also have a bar at all of them and just the coolest boutique selection you can find.
There you go.
And then you have other places like Franklin Cigar and Nashville Cigar, which are super high-end. And I dropped a pretty good chunk of change because outside of Aladino, I do have a crush on a certain company. Hint, United.
Okay.
I'm a big Alfonso fan.
Okay.
And this place, Franklin, had the largest selection. Every single Alfonso, Atabey, Bandolero, anything you could think of, they had it all.
Nice. Okay.
So I went on a little spending spree in there, and it's kind of embarrassing how much I bought.
Well, that's cool.
But I was like, yeah, I can't get this Alfonso anywhere. I can't get this Atabey anywhere. Like, I have to buy this.
Yeah, you got to do it.
So big shout out to Franklin. They'll also be carrying Aladino very, very soon. But yeah, so like super good. Nashville has everything is what I'm getting at.
All right.
So if you're in and around, or if you're taking a vacation and you're a cigar smoker, great cigar city.
All right. Well, very cool. Well, dude, we need to speed this up slightly because my phone is currently at 7%, and I can't have you plugged into the board and charge my phone at the same time. So let's go ahead and do this now. It's time for the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report, brought to you by
Villiger.
Villiger Cigars, one of the leading cigar and cigarello manufacturers in the world, founded in 1888 and still family-owned and operated. Head over to VilligerCigars.com and check the store locator to find a shop near you that carries them. We guarantee that Villiger Cigars will be a wonderful addition to your humidor and cigar rotation. I do want to point out before we get into this that I am down to probably about the halfway point of the final third of this Fuma Noche. And, obviously I've been smoking, you've been talking, but holy fuck, dude, this cigar is really, really good. The spice level has kind of kicked up a little bit in the final third. I would say the body, it is a very heavy-bodied cigar. It's not. It's definitely one that, yeah, I don't need to have another one today after this. But it's good. And what's nice is it's not slitting my throat. Like, it's not one that, like, I'm sitting here going like, oh my God, I feel like shit. I mean, but it is. You're smoking a cigar. This is not a cigar where it's like, it's a little light or medium. I mean, like, if you're looking for a heavy-bodied cigar, the Fuma Noche definitely delivers that.
So you're pretty much on pace for that 2-hour mark then.
We're at an hour and 26 right now. Let's say we probably lit it up about 5 minutes in, so I'm about an hour 20. So I'm a little fast on the 2-hour mark, I would say. But again, you've been talking. I really haven't. And so, I think if this were more of a bit of a back and forth kind of, conversation and not you telling stories, I think it would be, I think I could get 2 hours out of the cigar easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Now, one thing I will point out before we get to the entertainment shit.
Yeah.
Have you picked up any sweetness?
I can't say as I have, but that could be just my palate.
So there is a sweetness that comes from it, and again, you're not a big retro hailer.
Well, I'm going to do one.
Well, you're down at the bottom there of the cigar, though.
Holy shit! Yeah.
It's potent.
Yeah, no, there's no sweetness on the retro hail in the
not
ass
in that,
end of the final third.
No, probably not. But if you pay attention to the next one you smoke, there's this interesting sweetness that's not typical of cigars, and that has to do with one of the things in that cigar that we're not talking about.
All right. Okay. Interesting.
But it's it's my favorite cigar that we make. Period.
I'm digging the hell out of it. I will say that. I ordered 2 of them from 2 guys, and let's put it this way: I'll definitely be picking up more when I go out to New Hampshire for the New England Cigar Expo in September. So no, I'm digging the hell out of it. Now, in terms of the entertainment report, I really haven't been watching a ton. I've still been, traveling, moving, unpacking, doing things like that. But the show that I've put on in the background, and I don't even know how the hell this ended. I started getting reels on Facebook and Instagram, with little clips from it, and I would watch those, and I'd be like, fuck, that's funny. I forgot about this show. I've been watching the hell out of Home Improvement.
Huh.
I know. And I know you have a home improvement tie, and we don't need to get into that if you don't want to, but
Lord have mercy.
But yeah, I've been watching the hell out of Home Improvement, and fuck, I forgot about that show. It's funny as shit.
I'll save it. Anybody that wants a home improvement story, ask me at Pulpit Fest.
There you go. He has a home improvement story. But the other thing that I want to bring up, and this is a rant that I've had kind of cooking for a minute, and I hope I have the phone battery for this, because, all right, we're still at 7%. We're all right. So
we're good.
So obviously the Olympics have begun. Now, admittedly, I am not a big Olympic guy. It's not something that revs my engine. Just never really been into it. But, I was at a restaurant the other day for lunch, and they had a bank of TVs, and they had the Olympics playing, and it was really the only Olympics I've watched so far this year. But one of the things that they had on was they had women's sand volleyball, which I was okay with that. But then the other thing that they had on was this fucking rafting thing where these people in kayaks, they were single person kayaks, they would come down like a little, it's confined. It's not like a actual river, but it's meant to simulate a river. They come down a little bank, a little bump, and then they have to like maneuver their kayak through like poles, okay? And obviously this is a judged event. This is not a quantifiable thing. And that got me thinking. I think it's bullshit that we have judges for any of the competitions at the Olympics. I think everything that's at the Olympics should be a quantifiable thing. Shot put. You throw that fucking ball, or that iron ball, as far as you possibly can. And whoever threw it the farthest, by God, they get the gold. Track and field. Whoever runs the fastest and wins the race, they win. Swimming, same deal. Basketball, fucking volleyball. It all makes sense. But they're bringing fucking breakdancing into the Olympics in 2028, I believe. And that's horse shit. I'm sorry. Breakdancing is not a fucking Olympic sport. I'm not saying it's not a physical activity. I've never done it. I'm sure it's physically taxing on the people who are doing it, but it is not an Olympic sport. And I just think it's fucked up that we have judges for Olympic events. I think everything should be quantifiable. And I don't know how that works with gymnastics, because I know that gymnastics is a judged event. But let's be real, we've had scandals in the past. There was the skating thing in the Winter Olympics a handful of years ago where the judges were paid or somehow bullshit to give the Russians an advantage, I believe. I'm pulling this out of my ass, but I know there was something.
I think Oksana Bayul got fucked, I think.
I'm just saying, the bottom line is, when you introduce the idea of judges, it no longer becomes a objective winner. It becomes a subjective winner. And I don't think that's something the Olympics should do. I think Olympics should be a quantifiable sport.
I tend to agree with you on many of those topics. Some of them I think are impossible to do, but I think you're on the right track.
Well, and maybe it's one of those things. We need to maybe take a look at the list of sports that are at the Olympics and pare them down. Do we really need 2 full weeks of fucking Olympic Games? Or can we take it down to a week? Sunday to Sunday. Have an opening ceremony on a Sunday, have closing ceremony on the following Sunday.
So here's the problem, Bishop.
Okay.
You're talking about some high-level shit.
Oh, there's a lot of money involved in this. I know.
Yeah, well, the Olympics have some low-level shit that they need to fix before they even worry about the high-level shit.
Yeah.
Can I give an example here?
Sure.
I don't know. It might be controversial.
Of course it is, but it's you, so I expect nothing less.
Hey, listen. I'm going to be a women's rights activist for a moment if I can do that.
Oh, boy.
I know. Women out there might be shocked that I'm on your side here.
Are you though, or is this going to be one of those backhanded things where it's like, I'm on your side, and then you come along and be like,
no. I'm 1,000%. And I would
fucking baking should be an Olympic event or something like that.
If any woman is upset with what I'm about to say, you need to take a long look in the mirror.
Okay.
This is literally me being a woman's activist. I don't know. Maybe, just fucking maybe, we don't need men beating the shit out of women on national TV.
Okay, so now you're going into a subject that, I'll be honest, I don't know about. I mean, I know about the concept. I know it's happened in other things. Is it happening at the Olympics?
Oh, it done happened, and it was disgusting.
So you had a transgender male who identified as a female competing in the female games at the Olympics.
Boxing? Yeah.
Well, of course they're going to kick the shit out of a woman in boxing.
Gold medal match.
Punch a woman, but anyway.
The gold medal match lasted 46 seconds.
Oh, my God.
before he broke the woman's nose.
Jesus.
She then
That's spousal abuse in most areas.
She collapsed and cried in the ring, saying, "This is unjust."
I mean, it is.
There was a biological man who was literally allowed to beat the shit out of a woman in boxing. And people, if you think I'm like being controversial here, the video's out there. Go watch it. It's disgusting.
I will say, these schools that are allowing this and everything else, the whole fucking point of Title IX was to give women a fair playing field. And, it's one thing if a woman wants to compete in a men's sport, where she knows she's coming in, perhaps, and
that's different.
That's biologically different. At a physical disadvantage, perhaps in some cases, that's different. But for a man to like go down, let's just call it like it is, to go down to a woman's sport where he has an unnatural biological advantage just right off the bat. I mean, yeah, it's fucked up.
I think 4 years ago we were talking about swimming, and in those 4 years, now that transitioned into boxing, and we finally got to see what's it like in an Olympic boxing event. It's honestly, I think it's criminal, and women should not put up with this shit anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch a woman get beat up by a man. I don't want to watch that.
No, I'm on your side on this one. I agree.
But here's where, like, as being a women's rights activist right now, I don't think it changes until women together rise up and say, yeah, we don't want to get the shit beat out of us by a man.
Yeah. And to be honest, that might require some like boycotting of the games by some women saying, hey, United States, I'm not going to be on your Olympic team because you're going to put me up against dudes or something like that. I mean, that's just, it may have to get drastic.
The cool thing was, I believe it was Jake Paul, the influencer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I believe he reached out to the Italian lady that got her nose broke in 46 seconds. And he said, I will give you a fight in one of my promotions. You'll get paid, number one, and you'll fight a woman.
There you go.
And he's like, you'll be put on you'll be fighting an elite woman. It'll be an equal playing field. But he was really big on social media, and I'm like, that might be the coolest thing that dude's ever done.
It very well might be.
But this shit has to end.
I don't disagree with you, man. I really don't. It's fundamentally not fair.
I don't want to see that ever again.
Yeah. No. I'm on your side on that one. So what else have you been watching? Entertained by anything that you want to give a shout out to here?
I haven't had much time. I will say that today, I know this is going to come out later, but today marks football is back, baby.
I know you like football.
Yeah, so the whole time I've been watching this, I've had the Hall of Fame game on in the background, and now I might say something that women really don't like. So I'm an equal, equal opportunist here.
There you go.
The Hall of Fame game is where they introduce and like enshrine the new Hall of Fame inductees to the NFL Hall of Fame.
For sure.
And one of those people that they enshrined today, he's deathly ill and could not make it to the Hall of Fame game. His name is Steve McMichael. And Steve McMichael was a big part of the 1985 Bears defense.
Okay.
This dude's a badass. And it's really cool that he's finally getting his Hall of Fame jacket. Sadly, he's in really bad shape and couldn't be on the field to accept the honor personally.
Yeah.
So he sent his wife.
Okay.
Now, she was not married to him in the 80s. I believe she got married to him in 2001.
Well.
So, but cool that she was going to accept it in his honor.
I would say,
And, all these men that won these awards, busted, it gave their entire life to the game. they were all being cool and just raising their hands and thank you. And then they got to Steve McMichael, who's being, his wife is here in his stead. And all of a sudden, she acts like a cheerleader that the entire world is there to witness.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, what the fuck did you do? You can't even say you helped him out in the 80s.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, I'm embarrassed for Steve right now. I'm embarrassed.
That sucks.
Like, it shouldn't be your day. You should just be there. And that goes for any man or woman. If you're in a position like that, just take the honor and raise your hand and say thank you. And this is not about you at all.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was just like, oh, great. Some woman with, big udders.
Oh, God.
Trying to
God.
steal the spotlight. And I'm just like, oh, I'm sure Steve is watching this on TV going like, what the fuck?
Oh, my.
So, so ladies can love me for one thing and they can probably hate me for what I just said. But don't be you weren't even his cheerleader in the 80s.
Yeah.
Sorry. Or the 90s. Like, give me a break. That shit pisses me off too.
Okay. All right, then.
Well, so I've been watching that tonight.
All right. Well, there we go. Well, now let's go ahead and move into, while I still have the phone and the ability to read this here, let's go ahead and move into, I still haven't made the stingers for it, but let's fly high with Blackbird Cigars. Blackbird Cigars offers you remarkable quality using the most delicate and finest tobacco to always ensure that you're receiving unsurpassed cigars. Blackbird Cigars strives to give you undoubted repeating flavor for every cigar you smoke and impressive quality so you can always expect greatness. Check out their website for a full list of stores carrying Blackbird Cigars and give them a test flight. Blackbird Cigars, you can't clip our wings. So this is the segment where I talk about somebody who did something cool, somebody influential, either minor that did something cool, somebody major that did something cool, whatever, So today I'm going to talk about Felix Baumgartner. He's an Austrian base jumper, skydiver, and daredevil. He used to be in the Austrian military, where he trained in parachute jumping and landing on small target zones. Baumgartner has set several world records in base jumping and skydiving. He set the world record for becoming the first to break the sound barrier without vehicular power. He skydived an estimated 39 kilometers, reaching an estimated speed of 1,357.64 kilometers per hour, or Mach 1.25.
Oh.
So be like Felix Baumgartner and Blackbird Cigars, and don't let anybody clip your wings.
That's freaking awesome.
Isn't it? I mean, This dude freaking hit like over Mach 1, base jumping or skydiving or whatever. I mean, that's scary level shit right there.
Yeah, there should be an Olympic medal for that.
Right? I mean, who can go the fastest? Or who can go the furthest down before they deploy the parachute? That kind of thing. I don't know. That's fucked up. Anyway, so the other thing that I want to mention here is, guys, start your day off right. Start it off with some fucking good coffee. We were talking about coffee earlier. Fucking good. Comes in a variety of different blends and roasts. You can get everything from light roast to dark roast. And the beauty of it is Nick Gervais over there at Fucking Good Coffee, he, as a cigar smoker, he wants to make sure that all of his coffees pair well with cigars. They've got the lounge blend, which pairs well with everything. I have some of that in my kitchen right now. But then they have a variety of other flavors and blends that you can try that'll pair well with other cigars. So, if you're a coffee drinker and you want something that'll go really well with your with your cigars, make sure you give Fucking Good Coffee a try over there at fuckinggoodcoffee.com. Don't be a fucker. Drink fucking good.
It's fucking great.
It's fucking great. And then in terms of the socials, I'm available on Instagram at The Cigar Pulpit. I'm on Facebook, where we have the Pulpit Parishioners group, Twitter/X, YouTube, where you can watch this. And guys, I still need your calls for the Ask the Pulpit episodes. I've got one call in the bank right now, but you can give me a call on the hotline at area code 863-874-0000. And once I get enough calls banked up, we'll do another one of those. Oh, I just lost my light. Do another one of those episodes, and we'll be able to enjoy that and go from there. But make sure you give that a call. Area code 863-874-0000. And Trey Mac, where can everybody follow you?
Easiest way, Instagram, Trey Mac Travels. I'm about to revamp it, so get ready.
Okay.
But yeah, Pulpit Fest, boys, get ready. And gals.
Yes.
I mean, just don't slap me with a tortilla if you can.
I'll tell you, we have an interesting group of people that have signed up. What I'm excited about, I looked at the attendee list the other day, and what I'm excited about is while there are some regular attendees, there are a lot of people on this list that I do not know their name. I don't know them. So
awesome.
This is going to be a whole big group of new people for me to meet and interact with, and I'm really looking forward to it. That's coming up at the end of the month down in Palm Coast, Florida. There are 2 tickets still available, actually. We had somebody that had to drop out, unfortunately. So, guys, if I know it's super last minute, I know it's probably hard to arrange the calendar and schedule and everything, but maybe if you're a Florida local and you have that weekend free and available, it's August 23rd through the 25th. You can shoot me an email at nick@cigarpulpit.com and just tell me, hey, I want those tickets, and that'll get you access to the event, and it'll get you the goodie bag, really, because that's the thing. The attendees, we need it for chairs and goodie bags, so you're going to want to get in on that.
It's going to be 3 days to remember, folks.
It really will. It's going to be a fun damn time. And again, I want to emphasize to everybody attending, have your passport in process or ready. One or the other. You're going to need it if you win the grand prize. You're going to want it, so make sure you have your passport. If you don't have one already, now is the time to get that application in, because the government takes it's sweet time getting it to you, and you want to make sure you have it, preferably by the beginning of the year. So make sure you have that thing locked, loaded, and ready.
It's going to be awesome.
It really will. And you get to hear a couple of exclusive Trey Mac stories.
Oh, I'm so excited.
It's going to be good. Well, buddy, final thoughts on the Fuma Noche. I put mine out just a little bit ago, and fantastic cigar. I really, really dig it. I would definitely say that in terms of the Aladino line, it's the most full-bodied, cigar that I think you guys put out. I would say that in terms of like spice level, it doesn't have. I'm not saying it doesn't have Corojo in it, because I have no idea, but it doesn't feel super Corojo forward, to where it's like that typical Corojo spice that you guys are kind of known for. So it's a little different in that regard. There is some spice there, obviously. I catch it on the retrohale, and the final third definitely kind of it picked up a little bit. But no, it was a super, super good cigar, and I took it way down further than I normally do. I took it to the point where I was burning fingertips, so I had to let it go. But
I will tell you this. It's our first cigar that has no Corojo.
Oh, well, damn, there you go.
So you're spot on there. Okay. No Corojo, lots of interesting things that we're working on that will probably come to play in future lines.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Again, it's my favorite cigar that we make. I'm always looking for something. I like night smoke, and to have an Aladino that I can go to at night every night just makes my heart pitter patter.
I would think so. Especially with that nicotine, man.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely have a little food in you. When we were testing that blend, basically Justo gave us several blends that Julio had put together.
Yeah.
And was like, wanted me and Joel to kind of pick the Fuma Noche. And so we were smoking several blends at once, and they were all strong, and all of them were about halfway. And I'm like, bro, I'm like vibrating here.
I love it.
Like they were all strong, and that was and I was like, well, it's good to know that we're in that ball game.
There you go. You are indeed.
But that's the one we picked, and I'm very proud of that cigar.
Perfect. Well, Trey, I appreciate your time, man.
I appreciate you, brother.
As always, it's always fun to sit and chat with you. So,
Yeah, man.
well, guys, this has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm Nick.
And I'm Trey Mac.
Everybody stay safe and stay smoky. I have to get this equipment inside because I think we have thunderstorm. Oh, yep, it's raining. I am going to move inside. Thanks, buddy.
You better hustle, bro.
I'm going to hustle hard. So take it easy, man.
All right, man.
Bye.